Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Soulful Sips and Spills, the space where we brew up honest, heart-led conversations and spill all the juicy, unfiltered truths that help us heal, grow, and remember who the fuck we are beneath the noise. This is a space for healing, growing, and being wildly human. I'm your host, Megan Billy, Master Intuitive Psychology Coach and Mystical Alchemist. And I'm joined today by the wonderful, the amazing Anna Laing, who is a mindset and anxiety coach, who is the founder of Soul Sanctuary, who's currently based in Scotland. And I am so honored to say that actually she is one of my bestest friends from across the pond. And Anna, I've been really, really excited to talk to you, to get you on here for a long time. We were actually joking about it the other day, weren't we? And I was like, I don't know if this is a bit cringe to say, but like I've had you in my journal a really long time. And I was like, I'm so happy and grateful to have really supportive, lovely friends. And it was always like, Anna, and I'd chat to my partner about you. And he was like, oh, is that your friend in Scotland? I'm like, yeah. And I don't even think we were actually like friends yet. Yeah, she's my friend. I love her. And it just, so it's a bit of a pinch me moment because this was once manifestation, a dream, and now I have you sat here, and I'm really excited to have you. So welcome.
Thank you so much. You can tell by my cheeks that I'm so honored to be here. And I also was a little creep putting you in my manifestation journal. And it is a real pinch me moment. And yeah, I'm so happy to be here, Megan.
Oh, no, me too. Honestly, that makes my heart so full. I've been so excited. As I said to you, it's really important for me that I share with value. And obviously, I know that that's one of your core values also. So that made me even more buzzing because I was like, oh my God, it's just going to be the bestest episode ever. And yeah, I'm just super excited. But I would love for you, if that's okay, to just share for the listeners just a bit about you, about yourself. Like, who the fuck is Anna Laing? Tell us.
Loaded question, but who
Yeah.
is Anna? Anna is, well, I have always been interested in the healing space since I was like an infant. Like, I remember, I was talking about this with my partner the other day, as I remember being a kid practicing presence, like meditating essentially without knowing I was doing it. Even at like 15, my mom put me into energy healing and Reiki, and I've always just been a bit of a mystical weirdo. I've always loved the magical, the energetic, the spiritual. Luckily, my mom is like a super woo-woo woman as well. That's how I ended up this way. But
Love
yeah,
it.
that is like like you said, like my core beliefs are all about like value in helping others and showing people that there's so much freedom beyond like your mind. Like there is a
Mm.
big magical world out there waiting for you to be brave enough to step into it.
I love that. There's a magical world if you're brave enough to step into it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that gave me goosebumps. Oh, for you, Anna, was there a moment? Because I know you said obviously you've been in energy work a long time, and it was actually really great that your mum was woo-woo because you got to explore a wide variety rather than just one way. Would you say there was a moment or time spirituality was really there? Was there something that led you there from being young?
I think that so it was always an interest. It was always in the back of my mind. But I think when I was a kid, I was always really interested looking up the stars, like what's life after death? Like
Yeah.
weird questions to be asking as a kid, but like I was really interested in it. But then as I was in high school and all that, I was going out a lot, I was drinking, I was trying to fit in with everybody. I didn't it went away, to be honest. Like I didn't really think of it as much, and I got really severe depression, really severe anxiety around that time. And it was interesting because I'd always been interested in spirituality, but then when I hit a rock bottom, I've had many, but when I hit one of my rock bottoms, that's when I had my big spiritual awakening. I came across a video. I don't know if you know him, a guy called Ramdas.
Okay.
He's a spiritual teacher, and he's dead now, but I was obsessed with it. I had like the typical rock bottom spiritual experience, ecstatic bliss,
Hmm.
like everything healed in an instant, like my trauma healed. It was all very magical, but very confusing. But I didn't care because I felt better. And then it kind of led down this rabbit hole of just more, 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 give me more, give me more. And Ramdas was a huge part in that. And he is all about being present, be here now. And
Wow.
I was in Bahrain at the time. And every day you could win a ticket to go and see him in Hawaii. So, like, every
Oh.
day I'm like trying to win a ticket to see him, and it didn't happen. But it was kind of like my guru in a way. While I know that guru culture has completely changed now, it was really important for me at that point.
Mm.
And yeah, spirituality is just it's always been a part of my life, but that was like my big one, the big
Mm.
awakening, and realizing that there's so much more than what we thought.
Wow. Wow. That's so inspiring, Anna, because I know that when you're almost in the pits of stuff, it can be really difficult to almost see a new way or to look for the light at the end of the tunnel. And I actually didn't know about him. And I'm going to look him up after this episode and for the listeners as well, because I think it's really, we were talking about different cultures earlier, just before we started recording. And I think it's having that openness and that awareness to something more than yourself or more than the town you grew up in, the world around you. There is so much more out there than what we know. And for you having him almost essentially, I know, as we say, like the culture within it has changed, but for you having that different way at that time really, really helped you.
Yeah, he was an absolute pillar. I think actually, both times of whenever I've had these really big awakening healing experiences, it's always kind of been one person, but it's not necessarily who they are or what they're talking. It's how it resonates within you, right? At that point, I was so lost that it just when you can feel it, it's more like it's like a feeling. It's an awakening, right? It's like realizing that there's something within you that is always okay. And the second time that that happened was after, I don't know if you want to get into this yet, but it was after a massive, massive, my more recent one, a huge breakdown and coming back again. It's like life in my life, it's always been this like suffering has always led me back to
Mm,
wholeness and realizing that it was never actually gone in the first place.
mm,
So I truly believe that mental health is spiritual. I think that mental health is actually an awakening experience of yourself and realizing your wholeness and realizing the mechanisms of thought and realizing we're not it. So if we're not that, what are we? What's left? If we like rip everything else away, if we rip our thoughts away, our feelings, like what's left?
mm.
And to me, that is spiritual. Yeah.
Oh, no, I love that. I just want to reflect something back that you said there. Suffering has led me back to wholeness. You know,
Mm.
each and every time it's been this cyclical journey. It's not been linear, it's not been just one way. And as you mentioned, you've always been sort of more inclined to the spiritual world, as you say, more open. But you did have mental health.
Yeah.
You just lost your shit, No, yeah, we've been there, but
She went cuckoo bananas,
yeah,
girl.
no, girl, I've been there. I feel you. Like, just when you said there about suffering has led you back to wholeness, it, that gave me goosebumps again because it's not a linear journey. It's not just one path and it's not always up, up, up. I think within society now, we're always chasing this like high vibe and you have to be this and like magnetize this to yourself. But we're disowning our shadow or different parts of ourselves. Like we're not holding all of us when we're not allowing it. And I just, as you say, like sometimes when you're pushing through one way, your suffering has actually been what has led you back to wholeness. And when you rip your thoughts away, when you start from scratch, it's like what actually is left.
Mm-hmm.
Because Soul Sanctuary was born really from your breakdowns, that was also like a
Mm-hmm.
big part of your becoming. And I know obviously part of your story was actually you moved away and things like that, and you started again. It just fascinates me really how life is, because even from my own personal experience, some my biggest breakdowns have probably been my biggest breakthroughs now. But at the time, when you're trying to do something one way, or what you've always been told, and you're still getting that resistance, you end up feeling like you're the problem, especially when you then end up having, say, mental health crises or emotions or outbursts, or you can't like function in the world. For example, I know for myself, at a part in my journey, there were times where I wasn't really looking after myself very well. And I don't know about you, but when you are in sort of the depths and the dark night of the soul, it can be almost really hard to be like, what now? Like, what is this
Mm-hmm.
showing me? Because obviously we can be angry or shameful or whatever emotion it is, especially if we've attached things such as, oh, I've done it this way, I've been the good girl, why has this happened? Did you experience that within your journey?
Yeah, for sure. 1 billion%. I mean, I had been a mindset coach and healer for years. I'd been doing Reiki for like, God, I don't know. I've been a Reiki healer for like 16 years now. I was helping these people. They were having these crazy experiences. And then I was having clients, and clients were having these really cool experiences, and they were doing really well. I was doing the typical mindset work, all the different like modalities, the breath work, the this, the shadow work, the whatever, like everything. Give me everything. And I got
Yes.
trained in everything because I it was helping me at the time.
Oh.
But what happened was I had panic disorder. So I was having panic attacks every single day, and it was absolutely debilitating. But I was also, I don't know, I kept having these deaths and rebirths. They felt huge. Like it
Mhm.
was like every month I was being ripped apart and then put back together. And I was also having these daily panic attacks on top of it. So I was really relying on these tools. And these tools had worked for my clients, but I always kind of had my own little way of doing things. And I always knew it wasn't quite what I wanted to do. I didn't
Mhm.
really agree with all of the modalities. I didn't agree with traditional therapy and all that. We can get into that later if you like. But,
Yeah. Woohoo! I knew it was
but
going to be juicy.
but yeah, so what happened for me is I'd become reliant on the tools. So I thought that I had to constantly regulate myself, had to constantly do these things. And my panic attacks were still happening. I was still having panic attacks, and I kind of knew I shouldn't be. If I'm
Mhm.
doing all this right, why am I still having panic attacks? And it was last year sometime, and early last year, and I had one of the biggest breakdowns I'd ever had in my life, ever. I was I didn't even know how I was having such bad panic attacks. They were happening every single hour, and I didn't know if I could go on like that, to be honest. Like I'd I was doing everything right. I was this coach. So the added shame of me going through something as well. And it was my best friend's wedding. My best friend's wedding was coming up, and I was the bridesmaid, maid of honor, actually. And I go, I can't get on the flight. I can't go traveling. Like, I'm having panic attacks. I can't even brush my teeth. Like, I
Mhm.
can't. And I felt this huge, immense shame. Luckily, my best friend is my best friend for a reason. She's freaking amazing. She called me, she said everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. But what was happening is I was just so confused, and I felt like such a failure, and so ashamed, because I was like, if I'm doing everything right, why am I so messed up still? And I kept seeing other people and then me. So like other people have mental health issues, but mine are really bad. Like mine are crazy. Like I remember having a conversation with my partner saying, okay, if I get my biggest fear was psychosis, because I had OCD, and it was telling me that I was going to go into psychosis. So I would like talk to my partner and be like, okay, this is the plan if that happens. Like I truly believed that's what was going to happen. And it was at my darkest point, my absolute darkest point. I literally was in that bedroom for hours a day listening. Luckily, my partner's a hypnotherapist and he made meditations. So the only thing I could do, I couldn't even sit upright. The only thing I could do was listen to his meditations all day, every day. It was weird. I was just stuck in there. And I get to this point, I'm like, how am I going to live my life? I have huge dreams, huge dreams. How the hell am I going to get there if I can't even get out my bed? I can't even go to my best friend's wedding. Something's up. And my darkest point, I come across this video. My mind was all over the place. I can't really remember how this happened, but I came across a video of Dr. Bill Pettit, this psychiatrist, clinical psychiatrist, working with much worse than me patients, which helped at the time. And he talked about this thing called innate well-being. And he's like, there's this part within you that is always whole and always complete. Even in your darkest moments, there's a piece of you within you that is always whole and complete. And with my spiritual background, I was like, yeah, like I've been told that before, go within, yeah, we all love that. But I'm different. Like, so there's actually something wrong with me. And it planted a seed. It like planted this little tiny seed. And then the next day, I was able to get up. So I went for a walk. And I cry every time I say the story, so I don't know if I will or not. But I've told it quite a few times now, though. And I went out for a walk and I was listening to this really beautiful music. And I was that seed had planted a little bit of hope, a tiny, 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 tiny speck of hope. And as I was walking, I'm looking exactly where it happened. Like I was walking across over there, and there was all these clouds in the sky. It was a cloudy day. And then the sun just shone right through, right onto me. And the song I was listening to at the time was talking about clouds parting, the sun coming through. It was just a huge synchronistic experience. And I started crying, but not with tears of sadness that I'd been crying. Like I was crying a lot at that point, but these were different. These were tears of gratitude. And it was because I understood. I understood for a second there that I am not the clouds. I am not my thoughts. There's something behind it. I'm what's behind it. And I don't have to identify with all these thoughts. There's a place within me that's always well. And I was like, wow, I'm the most mentally healthy I've ever been in my life. And 24 hours ago, I was wanting to admit myself. I was the worst I'd ever been. And I walked back into the house a completely new person. I walked back in and I was the most mentally healthy I ever was. And I only ever had one panic attack after that. And it was a completely different experience, whereas I was having them every single hour. And I was like, okay, there's something here. Like like what? There's something here. And then it just became so clear. And like you were saying before, did you realize that afterwards that you went through a breakdown for a reason? And while I don't believe, like now what I teach is like you don't have to have it be so like crazy, but I think for my life it had to happen that way because I was so set and I was so comfortable with my own ways that this really awoken and I was like, okay, this is my mission. Like I need to dive deeper into this. I need to get qualified. I need to understand this more. And I need to share this with people because people something that's been so common with people that come to me is they've tried everything before. A lot of people come to me as a last resort, and one, it's an honor, but two, that shouldn't be the case. That's not how we should be functioning. And a lot of people think that psychology is at its peak. It's not. It's in its infancy. We don't know. Like people don't know. They they're guessing. They're treating symptoms. That's what happened to me. That's what I think I was doing even for other people in the beginning, as I was treating their symptoms. Luckily, I was a Reiki healer, so they were awakening their own innate well-being in the background. But I didn't know I was doing that, and now I do. But the tools were keeping me small because the tools were treating my symptoms. And
Mhm.
when you can understand innate well-being and you can understand what I teach, the three principles founded by Sydney Banks, not me. This is ancient wisdom. It's not something new that I made up. But when you can understand this, you do truly heal. You
Mhm.
become a different person. And I think I had to have it so dramatic in my life to really wake me up to, okay, bitch, this is it. This is your
Yeah.
mission.
I love that, Anna. Thank you for sharing because what a story of resilience and
Mm,
a journey back to finding your power. Because, as you said before, although, yes, you've always been drawn to this world, but you were training in all the things, learning all the things, but actually still experiencing some really rough symptoms, and actually so much so that it was debilitating, panic attacks every hour. And obviously, as you said, you get to a point when you are trying and you're doing all the things, you're like, something's not quite right. And I loved what you said about traditional therapy. And although there are things you agreed with, there were things that you deeply knew intuitively, like were not quite it all, and that there could be another way. And I love what you said as well about innate well-being. It's not some like new trend, it's ancient wisdom is being remembered and resurfaced. We're seeing a massive shift in consciousness that are actually, we're sick of this surface level like masking. We're sick of just putting a plaster on the problem. We
mm,
need to get to that root need, that core, that root cause, so that you can almost pick it out. And that's what you did. You had a complete shift. And with the clouds, just having that synchronistic moment of actually they can just pass on by. They're not
mm,
always for me. I just
mm.
think is truly wow. I just want to
Yeah.
say that first and foremost, because that's nothing to sniff at, especially as a mindset and anxiety coach. You treat people, I know you said as a last resort, which obviously is an honor, but it doesn't always have to get to breaking point. You can
Mhm.
start to see the signs. You don't have to let it keep going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much hope. There's so much hope. And when I started understanding, say like with what I teach is also the role of thought. And I think that's what's keeping people back. That's what kept me miserable for years because I didn't know. I didn't know that my thoughts didn't matter. I didn't know that I didn't have to take them seriously. I thought I was preventing something by listening to them. Also, being in the spiritual world, sometimes we get so caught up because we think it's our intuition or this or that. We have to listen when really it's just thought. And there's so much hope because once I came into this understanding, I wasn't even scared of psychosis. I wasn't even scared of all these things because I knew that there is mental health within every single person.
Mhm.
The only reason anyone can be mentally ill is because they're believing their thoughts to be true. So
Mhm.
what is the cure? It's to stop taking it seriously. It's
Mhm.
and the only way that I've found is the most easy way to not take your thoughts seriously is to come back to love, is to come back to your soul.
Mhm.
And while other modalities are picking apart your thoughts, I love the analogy someone said once. That's like having a really gross, stinky rubbish bin in your kitchen and you going through like, what's making it stinky? I must find out what's making it stink
Mhm.
instead
Mhm.
of just putting it out. And things like talk therapy and all this stuff is it's just keeping people victimized.
Mhm.
It's just making it and the thing is, it's mad to me because we know this. We know science knows that if you keep repeating and talking about your bad experiences, you're creating new neural pathways. You're making it more important, not less. It blew my mind because it's so simple, and it's just we're so like our thoughts are so sneaky. They're just so enticing. And what I teach is your consciousness brings your thoughts to life, so they feel real, but you have to realize that every feeling comes from a thought. And that thought is what's making creating your suffering. But you don't even have to change your thoughts. You just have to realize that you're thinking. And
Mhm.
it's an invitation not to think more, but an invitation into the present moment. And it blew my mind how incredibly simple it is, how quick it works, how long lasting. Like, there's people that have taught this, like psychologists, psychiatrists that are dealing with people with like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, like, and people coming back to full health in a week. That's insane. That's insane. And it's just so simple, but it's so overlooked because of its simplicity.
Mhm.
That's how it gets overlooked, is like we like the complex. We have a little like kink for complexity.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
really mental health is simple. That's what came through to me, and that's what I want to give to everybody, is the gift of mental health and them realizing that they already had it, and that it's your thoughts. You do not have to take your thoughts so seriously. That is the key to healing, 100%.
Mm. Oh, yes, I absolutely love that. It gets to be simple, and I too have clearly a kink for the logical and the understanding, and that it is sometimes that tug of war, isn't it? That you have to kind of keep coming back to what's underneath, because it's not, your thoughts aren't always true. Sometimes our thoughts we've collected from the people around us, the world, we've learned things along the way, or sometimes they were handed down to us and sometimes they're not even ours. So if we were to challenge them or to get underneath them and come back to love, it
Hmm.
can be so, so different. And I love that you're challenging new ways of being rather than, I understand that everything has its place within the system, but I absolutely love that you're challenging a new way, because certain modalities or therapies can only take you so far. And if we look at even like mental health journals and the statistics around the increase of mental health throughout the years, it's not got better, has it? It's, if
Yeah.
in fact it's significantly got worse. So
Hmm.
whatever we've been doing up until now is not working.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not working, and I think we need to actually go back to that, blending ancient wisdom even with modern science and psychology and energetics to up level. We cannot heal from the same level of consciousness that created the problem.
Hmm. Yeah. And the problem is a lot of people are trained in mental illness. They're not trained in mental health. They're
Mhm.
trained in mental illness. So they're trained to look at your symptoms and treat your symptoms. Oh, it's honestly pointless. Like, okay, I don't say it's completely pointless, because there was a time where, I probably did, I was on medication for a few months and it helped, I guess, a little. But I didn't know that that was just treating the symptom. Like, it's
Mhm.
everything's presented to us as a healing modality, but it's not. It's just slapping a band-aid on a wound. It's not really healing. There's so much uh, it's like they're making their jobs more complicated, to be honest. But if we were to go down the rabbit hole, I mean, money, big pharma. But if people were just trained in mental health, not mental illness, at least
Mhm.
they would be able to see the health of their patients in front of them.
Mhm.
And that itself can be incredibly healing, because people are going into, there's actually this really cool story of somebody that was having panic attacks and actually was admitted, and she was young at the time, but she was in a mental health facility. And certain times throughout the day, they would go and just hang out. Like, they would just eat together, talk. And she would realize, like, oh, I'm mentally healthy when I'm sitting here talking with my
Mhm.
friends. And then the person would knock on the door and be like, come on, it's time for your medication. Whoop, back into mental illness. It's
Mhm.
it's it, there's so much reiteration of mental illness and not enough of
Mhm.
mental health,
Yeah.
my opinion.
I also have experience within mental health training wise, or like personally, and I do agree with you there that you're being trained to look at the symptoms and like treating this symptom rather than actually getting, as I said before, like underneath, and not like treating the person as well.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
think that for me, that's what actually really pissed me off because I'd went into mental health to train to be like a nurse, thinking like I'm going to change the world, because I had had my own experience with different things that kept me stuck, that kept me in that story, rather than actually healing and moving on. And that's not to say you're never going to be triggered again and you're never going to experience those things, but you can learn, heal, and evolve and be able to move in a way that isn't maybe as damaging or as self-sabotaging as what it once was. And I can, from personal experience, I remember feeling that pressure within the mental health system of like, I was like, this just feels like a crock of shite. Like, I just feel like I'm playing bullshit. Like there was so much more that you could do, or there was just a different way. And I found it was very like set and regimented for only this way. And we were always referencing something that was, yeah, I'm very passionate also about it. And I think it's brilliant that you are spreading this awareness and creating such a compassionate and hopeful space for your clients, as well as just in your collective, because we need more people like that. So, I mean, thank you for one.
Well, yeah, you can't heal something wrong with the intellect with the intellect. It doesn't make any sense. You need heart,
Mm,
soul, and yeah, I do truly believe that it's a spiritual experience. And even if people don't realize they're having a spiritual experience, they are. Like it comes from such a um it's like going to a library to learn to how to ride a bike. You can't solve this with the intellect.
mm-mm.
You can't solve a mental
Yes.
illness by thinking about it.
Yeah.
Talking about
Yeah. Oh my
it.
God, I love that. Yeah, you cannot solve it just by thinking about it. And we are so programmed to always kind of write a pros and cons list and like, to, for and against, and like really work it out and over analyze and like get into the depths of it, when actually, if we can close down our eyes and go within and asking what do we need,
Hmm.
we can cut through the bullshit. It sometimes feels like magic. And that's what I love about intuitive psychology, as well as blending my other modalities, because it's not just plastering some wound on. You are actually getting to that core need, that root emotion,
Hmm.
and clearing the charge. You're neither positive nor negative. You're not going to be so reactive or so swayed. Would you
Hmm.
say for yourself, Anna, when it was, say, in the depths of it, and you noticed obviously your clients and people were still sort of experiencing the same thing again and again, when you started introducing innate well-being, what did you notice then?
So actually, something that I found really cool was I was teaching it without knowing what it was. All of my clients, so far, 100% success rate. So, so everybody that
Yeah.
came to me was having these spiritual experiences, these really enlightening experiences. And they still message me years later saying, I still accredit it to our work together. And every single client has been like that. Every single client hasn't like gone back to their old ways. They have this new, they are a new person. They live life differently. And I was like, this is really cool, but I don't know how I'm doing this. I don't really know how I'm doing this because I know it's not the tools and I know I always had this inkling on, luckily, with my spiritual background, I knew that I wanted to guide people back to wholeness. I didn't have the language for it yet, but
Mhm.
luckily it was somehow getting across to them and it was incredible. But I really wanted to know what it was. Like, what am I doing? Because I want to know. And it wasn't until I came across innate well-being and like in my own journey, because I was helping these other people, but I wasn't helping myself. I was still a mess myself. And it felt, while they were having incredible experiences, and I'm so proud of that, it felt misaligned from me in my experience. It's not what I wanted to give. It's like I wanted to be more present. I wanted to um be as well as they were. Like I wanted to have really cool experiences that they were having. And I noticed once I came into the three principles understanding is I was able to give language to it. And I think that's huge because now it can access much more people. Now, much more people are understanding what I mean instead of it just being this felt experience. Now I can, give the kink of the intellect a little bit of food. Like, here you go. Here's some language for it. I have noticed deeper experiences. I've noticed more spiritual experiences for people having their own awakening because a lot of people don't even know that they have it. A lot of people don't even know that they have this space within that is completely untouched. Probably the most transformative thing is actually learning how our thoughts work and understanding the mechanism of thought has been huge. Mood has been huge. So being able to put language to if you're feeling bad, you're having bad thoughts, which means they're more distorted. So the more you feel something, like the more bad you feel something, the more intense it is, the more distorted your thoughts are. So you don't have to listen to them. And being able to have the language for people to be able to experience anything within them, understanding that there's like, if you look at the world, the earth, like we grow babies. Do we think about how we grow a baby? No. Do we think about how to, if we get a cut on our hand, we don't think about how to heal it, it heals. The same thing goes for our mental health. And people just being able to have the language and people being able to understand that, they then are a vessel of safety. I call it unconditional safety. Whereas now, no, I don't have panic attacks anymore. I don't have chronic anxiety. I don't have chronic illnesses. I don't have depression. But if I was to have them, if something was to happen, it's okay. Like, I understand now that I'm okay to feel anything because my body is designed to go back into balance, which is why people sometimes get a little triggered by this. But I hate nervous system regulation tools. I hate them. And I think there's a space for them, right? But for me, they're pointless because you are then relying on a tool for something that is naturally happening. And what you're
Mhm.
doing is you're just interfering with nature. Your body goes back into balance all on its own. It's designed to. It's the most natural thing in the entire world for your body to come back into homeostasis. You are guided by something way beyond what we can comprehend through our head. We can
Mhm.
comprehend it through our soul though. And look at nature. Look at sunflowers facing towards the sun. Look at birds flocking. Look at I always think the craziest one is the growing a baby because like
Yeah.
how the heck?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and
We are nature and we are
yeah,
weird and wonderful.
we're
I was going to
guided
say
by the same
machines.
thing. Yeah, and you get to trust that. And I love how you're talking about what you do with intuitive psychology. It kind of the way it would kind of overlap with the three principles is wisdom. So what we talk about is
Mhm.
wisdom. And so if you ever thought about a time where something bad happened and something dangerous happened, maybe you were in danger, your wisdom kicked in. You knew what
Mhm.
to do. You weren't anxious in that moment. You knew what to do. Like, say the dog ate a bit of chocolate, you go.
Mhm.
When our puppy fell out the van, I went, I called. I didn't have anxiety about should I call the vet? No, I was on the phone and we took him straight away. And the cool thing about wisdom is it always pops up, not a moment too soon and not a moment too late. It always
Mhm.
just comes up in the moment
Yeah.
and you'll notice it. Like, this is why I don't necessarily give people tools, but I do guide them back to their own wisdom because your wisdom will always guide you in the direct, like where you need to go. And it's much more subtle than your head. It's much more, the way I kind of see it is like alarm bells is your head and wisdom is more of this gentle nudge. It's like,
Mhm.
say you were feeling really anxious, maybe your wisdom tells you to go watch a TV series or to go for a walk. None of it's bad. Like, there's a lot of thinking like, oh, distraction is bad. I think distraction is perfect. If distraction's getting you back into the present moment, there is nothing wrong with it. You don't have to sit in your feelings. Oh my
Mm.
God. The amount of times I was told that, and I'm sitting there
Mhm.
having a panic attack, like, okay, feel it, and you don't, you don't need to do
Yeah.
that. You don't need to feel through your thing. Your body is designed to come back into homeostasis all on its own. You don't have to sit in your shitty feelings. You don't
Mhm.
have to There's times and places for sure, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Of course, there is a time and a place to sit with it. That's a lot of what you hear, isn't it? Well, just sit with it. And it's like,
Didn't work for
okay,
me.
well, and also it's also that how, like,
Yeah, yeah,
and what am I meant to do with it? We're not always, it's just we'll sit with it. Okay. I'm
yeah,
sitting and I'm still freaking out here.
yeah.
It's not always working, is it? So yeah, removing those barriers. I would love to know a bit more for the listeners, just about, because when you mentioned about wisdom there and that being one of the three principles, can you tell me and the listeners a bit more about the three principles, or
Mhm,
how can they, rather than maybe just sitting with the feelings all the time, or almost masking with whatever like technique or this, that, the other, how can we access the three principles? How can we experience this innate well-being that we all have within us? But
mhm.
how do we get there? Like, how do we do that?
So this is the question that I also had at the very beginning, and it's not an answer you're going to want to hear, but it's the answer you need. So the three principles are basically just fundamental truths about how we work. So the first one is thought, the next one is consciousness, and the last one is universal mind. You don't need to know what all of them mean. You can change the words, you could whatever feels good to you, but basically as humans, fundamental truths, we have thoughts. They feel real because of consciousness. We can be aware of our experience. We have consciousness. And there's also something beyond life force. There is some kind of life force that's within us, within
Mhm.
the universe. Like we can't deny any of these things. So how the principles works is you just have a deeper understanding. And that's not what people want to hear, because they want to hear how do I do this? How do I do that? But when you have a deeper understanding of how things work, it naturally, like, the understanding is the healing. The understanding is what brings you back. And I give a lot of a deep dive in my course, Soften, but if I was to say to a random person struggling right now, the number one thing I would do was just simply, one, be aware of your moods. Be aware that if you're in a good mood, bad mood, if you're in a bad mood, don't listen to your thoughts. There's no point. They are contaminated. Don't bother. Second is just to notice that you think. Notice that you think, that you have thoughts. Notice that you are not them. They are just not necessarily thoughts, the content of them, the actual mechanism of thought. Just understand that you have that. And then the coming back to innate well-being, I think, comes through a deeper understanding and time and digesting it and really sitting with the principles. But just look at how far you've come. Look at you. Look at your, like, look at your life and look at the magical, look at the how you were as a kid. Like, if you remember when you were a child, you would get scared, you would get frightened, but you didn't have an anxiety disorder, you didn't have a depressive disorder. Why? Because you got present, because you weren't thinking about it and ruminating about it. You were just
Mm.
getting present. And I think the number one advice I give to anybody struggling is to know that you're safe. Anything that you're experiencing is safe. Mental, no matter what it is. I had panic disorder. I had really intense symptoms. Like, they feel like a heart attack. They feel like all these things. And the number one thing that helped me when I was really struggling was understanding that it's safe, it's predictable, it always goes away. It's literally just adrenaline going up and going back down. You've never
Mhm.
been stuck. If you
Mhm.
look back at your life, you've never been stuck in a bad feeling. People say, I've been depressed for 3 years. No, you weren't. You were depressed, but you had peaks as well. And noticing the nuance of that, noticing that you're just a yo yo. Like, we go up and down, and that is perfectly safe. That's normal. That's okay. It's the only thing that creates the suffering. I love George Pransky has this quote, and he says, you can't always avoid pain, but you can avoid suffering. And the way
Mm.
you avoid suffering is acceptance and understanding that you're safe to have an experience of life, because that's why we're here. And you're safe to feel that. It's okay. Like, I think what blew my mind was that everything I was feeling wasn't dangerous, especially if you've
Mm.
been in the self-help world, the nervous system regulation world. They'll convince you you're dying, but it's safe. It's safe. Bad feelings are safe, good feelings are safe, and they're all temporary. They go like that because you're always one thought away from a completely new experience of life, and that's incredibly refreshing.
Honestly, I feel like Barbie at the end of Toy Story, like when she's like, goodbye now. Because like I just couldn't stop smiling throughout that because how powerful that you are just one thought away from a totally new experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just one thought.
One. And they change all the time. Try gripping onto
Yes.
a thought. Good luck.
Yes. And you are not your thoughts, and coming back to self, and that your thoughts can change, just like your needs, just like your mood. And as you said, when you're in a bad mood or a lower mood, your thoughts are almost contaminated as such. They're
Yeah.
not always going to serve you. When you're in a bad mood, the actions and the thoughts you take have come from that emotion, right? And they're probably not great if you're in a lower mood. So the results you're going to see are not going to be in alignment or feel really congruent for you because you've taken action from that lower place. So yeah, being able to just recognize like, oh, I'm in a low mood, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's ebbs and
Exactly.
flows. We
Exactly.
don't always have to we're like mean making machines, aren't we? We love to
Mhm.
make meaning out of everything or to give it context. And as you said, these thoughts can kind of hook and attach to us, not just within our mind, but within our body. And that starts showing up physically. So to be able to know you can access this within, everyone has it. It's almost like tuning into that frequency, isn't it? If you're either tuned in or you're tuned out. You're either open to
Yeah.
learning and understanding, and it does take time. I don't know if you have felt this because you mentioned obviously learning all the things and training and all these different modalities, but actually you always know when you're coming back to yourself, you're coming back home, you're remembering. And sometimes that can take time. It can just be like a thought, it may pass, it can change. And just how amazing is that? You are not stuck. You are not always going to
Never.
be where you are.
Yeah, never. You're never stuck. You've never have been, even if you look back and you can say, oh, I was anxious. I say it all the time. I was anxious for 12 years. I wasn't. I had some really incredible times in those moments too. Incredible moments. But it's just, yeah, it's, it's mind-boggling but so simple at the same time that it often does go over people's head, but it's actually incredibly mundane and boring. The fact that we have innate well-being is ordinary. I'm not special. You've got it. Jane down the road has innate well-being. Everyone has it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
incredibly ordinary. And the reason we know this to be true is if you let everything go, what do you feel? Like if you just let your mind settle. Oh, a good analogy a lot of that people use is a snow globe. So if you shake up a snow globe, it's cloudy thinking, right? It's cloudy. You don't want to listen to it. And then if you let it settle, clarity comes. Clarity always comes back. And that is your innate well being. It's not some magical, mystical thing on the mountains of Nepal. It's very ordinary. And we fall back into it all the time because it's what our bodies are designed to do. And we have these beautiful thought is creation, right? Like it's not we're not our thoughts, but we are creating life through our thoughts. So our beautiful computer mind has its place. It's awesome. Like we would not be where we are today without it. We're business ladies. We use our intellect a lot. But it's not when it comes to mental health, it's useless. It's useless because you've created it from there. And it is a meaning making machine and it is part of our survival, our monkey brain. That's not where mental health lives. That's where it's created. And you can't heal something like the going to the library to learn how to ride a bike. It doesn't make
Mm.
any sense.
You
You
have
know,
to do, you have to
yeah,
be.
That's why a lot of what they call is I kind of see the brain as like our computer and universal mind, which is the intelligence behind life that grows a baby, that turns the sunflowers towards the sun, that makes a heart beat. That is the mind I'm trusting. And that's the mind that everybody has trusted their whole life. The beautiful thing
Mm.
is, you've already been using these principles. You've already, like, it's just an understanding that takes away all this suffering. And to know that you already access it. Sometimes people ask me, okay, how do I access it? You've already got it. You're already there. The only thing that's convincing you you're not is your thinky thoughts. You're taking them too
Mm.
seriously.
Yes, I love that. You're taking them far too seriously. Honestly, I could chat about this all day, and I just love your honesty about it, and it's no fluff, no BS, because I find within this, like as you said before, within this culture, whether that's like health and well-being, spirituality, I found it a bit of almost a wild west at points, and it can be quite difficult to almost tune in to actually what is right for you and what is just another sort of another quick fix, another, as you say, plaster on the wound. And from my own experience, I think that's why I was always guided back to self and trusting myself, because as you said, we are nature. We instinctively know what to do, whether it's the sunflowers facing the sun, whether it's, the seeds cultivating under the soil, given the right conditions, the right time, the butterfly, you know, we instinctively know what to do. I think that is just so powerful, rather than leaving it up sometimes like the next thing. We don't want to always sit with it. We
Mhm.
don't always want to stay there. And I think it's just so powerful, because you don't have to. You don't have
Yeah.
to do it. If it doesn't feel right, then it's not.
And it's quick too. Like this way of healing is quick. Like there's been clients that have come to me, they've been in therapy for like a decade, and in 3 weeks they're a brand new person. Like I wouldn't say that with my chest if I didn't believe. Luckily I've been through the traditional route and the new age
Mhm,
route, so luckily I kind of have had so much shitty experience that I can just be like, hey, look, they've been guiding you to something outside of yourself. Guess what? I did that. It didn't work. This is what worked for me. And it's actually really simple, really easy, and it works really quickly and it has lifelong effects. Like the people that are teaching the principles are like, there's people in their 80s and they are still happy, happy, happy present people. And the mystics have been saying this since the beginning of time.
mm,
it's
mhm,
go within. Like, guess what? The answer is love. Sorry, spoiler alert. But it's quite easy to go over people's heads, which is why I think the principles help, because
mhm,
it does give it more of a modality feel. It does give it more of a structure that I think people are craving, but they're just not. Modalities and things can give the ego a bit of safety,
mhm,
but people aren't getting the results they deserve. Like, I'm sorry, but managing your anxiety is not enough. These people are
mhm,
suffering. These
mhm,
people are suffering. They need something that actually works. They need
mhm.
people to step off of their egos and actually give them something that works.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's what I hope to be for people, being through it myself as well. I know that people they are suffering and they need a solution that actually works long,
Mhm.
like for the rest of their lives.
Yes, rather than, as we said before, yes, you may get triggered by something again. It's not to say that you won't ever get triggered by something, but actually to not to be stuck in that,
Mhm.
because and for it to stay in this cycle, and it doesn't have to keep repeating itself, because very much like in your journey, you were doing all the things, whether it was the breath work, the modalities, the techniques, the this, and it was not working. What
Mhm.
do you wish someone had said to you, like in the depths of that?
You're safe. You're safe. You're safe. To everybody, you are so much more powerful than you've led to believe. You're so much more than your intellect. And it doesn't have to take time. Wisdom, one thought away, one feeling away. You're safe, one, to feel bad, but also feeling good is one thought away. And it's just incredible how big life can get when you understand that you were meant to be here. You are a beautiful creature of this universe. You're supposed to be here. Life wants you here. Life, nature wants you here. It's not against you. It's just been convinced that way in your head. And it's so easy to let it go. And I know that can sound like a pain when you're in your depths, but there is an easier way. There is, it's safe. You are always safe when it comes to emotions. You're safe. Everything's okay. And don't go through life gripping so much. The key is to soften. The key is to soften into life. Gripping is intellect, softening soul.
Oh, softening the soul. Softening the soul for you actually ended up being something that birthed a program, wasn't it? It was a mantra at first, is that right? To
Yeah,
soften?
yeah. It was actually a New Year's word of the year was soften. And I knew that that was my next, because I was a type A girly. I still am type A, and I like some of the like I like being type A sometimes,
Mm.
but I knew that I had to soften, and I knew that my suffering of all that years had made me become very rigid, very tense, very afraid of the world, very afraid of myself. Softening, it just became like an energy that I wanted to live life through, because to me being soft is the strongest thing in the world, because you're malleable. You're able to handle whatever life throws at you. You're able to soften into experiences. You're able to get more present, because I know when I was struggling and I was so rigid, and I was one, not really a nice person to be around, and I knew it. I was limiting my life. I wasn't going anywhere. I had agoraphobia even. I was horrible to people. I wasn't my true self, because I was living so much through my ego, because I was terrified. I was terrified of life. And to me, being soft is to be brave. Being soft is to be present. Being soft is to be loving, and to have that. To me, it feels like awe. Like it
Mm.
feels like an awe and a gratitude for life, and feeling like life has your back. And because I always saw the vision that well, I have aphantasia, so it was more of a feeling than a vision, but it was like the universe kind of cradling me like a baby. And
Mm.
that's the type of safety I needed to be audacious and confident. And
Mm.
I don't just teach anxiety healing, because to me, that is like the beginning. That's the beginning of life,
Mhm.
is then you get to experience life. Like, this isn't just for healing, this is for living your life, this is for expanding your horizons. And a lot of people, when they heal from anxiety and then they get in this rut of like, kind of the new feels scary still, and it's like, oh well, how do I make it work for that? It's like, no, this is for everything. Life is beautiful when you can have the right mindset and the right direction. It's limitless. You can become
Mm.
limitless. You become malleable. You become, to me, soft. There's a lot of
Yeah.
misinterpretation. Like, people are like, oh, the soft girl era. And I'm like, it's not
Mhm.
that. It's not staying home and cooking. I don't know about you, but the spiritual community and like the feminine masculine
Mhm.
thing, I swung from one side to the
Mhm.
other so hard,
Mhm.
like a
Yeah.
pendulum, like from the
Yeah.
masculine to like baking banana bread and just manifesting from feeling good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a beautiful middle there. And
Yeah.
that to me is what soften is.
Yes.
It's not just doing nothing. It's not
Mm.
just, it's taking responsibility for your life, stepping out of victimhood and
Mm.
becoming malleable, becoming
Mm.
so that you can actually live a life that you can be at your deathbed and be like, hell freaking yeah, I did it, you know?
Yes. Yes. I love that, because that's really what we are all searching for, is that inner peace within us, to lay our head down at night and to know, like, I am safe, like, I am worthy, like, I am here for a reason. I have a purpose, not necessarily to attack, because you are not happy, you're not sad, you are not purpose, you are not those things, but just in the sense of that inner peace within you, that innate well-being that exists, being able to actually feel it, not just logicize it. I think that is going to create such a positive ripple effect within consciousness, because we get to choose, and life gets to be so big. It's so big and beautiful, but we cannot heal through like shame, guilt. You know, we can, and then if you can, it's going to be sticky and horrible, and it's going to take you forever, because you're just going to keep repeating in that snow globe cloudy thought. You're not ever gonna, you know, smash out the glass ceiling. But if we can come back to wholeness, if we can come back to love, we can heal, we can experience joy and expand, because we feel safe.
Yeah. There's this beautiful quote by Sydney Banks. It's the first, he has this beautiful book called The Missing Link. And the first page it says, the only thing everybody did was not be afraid of their experience. That alone would change the entire world. Because everything that is bad about what is happening in the world right now is coming from fear and coming from sadness, coming from lack. Imagine if our leaders knew that they had innate well-being and wholeness, you know, and they saw it in
Wow.
other people. Like, not being afraid of your experience is what will change the world. Like, to know that you are safe is what everybody wants. It's our deepest desire, I feel.
I love that. And it came from softening. And I love that something that was, you know, your word of the year and mantra has not only been that, it's almost been a new way of being. It's a beginning, because as you said earlier as well, anxiety isn't the end, it's the start. Once you can unpick and detach from that, life gets to be so big, bold, and beautiful. How would you say with softening? I know that obviously you have Soften, your course. How would you say like people can get in to Soften? How would they access your course and learn more about? Because as you said, within this kind of space, there's so many labels, or, you know, and swinging from the pendulum of like the feminine to the masculine. Like, I do believe there is balance. You know, you need both of these energies, almost that yin and yang, and there's that beautiful gray in the middle. It's not just one way. How would people start to soften? How would you say, because it can be scary with all these labels and, oh well, I'm just sitting at home waiting for life to happen for me. Whereas actually softening isn't just sitting back and waiting. It isn't just, it's not, I think sometimes the connotation with softening is that it's a bad thing to be vulnerable, or it's a bad thing to slow down, essentially. But it isn't. It's courageous, it's bold.
Incredibly so. Incredibly so. I think that to be able to, I know that when I was struggling, the only reason I didn't want to slow down is because I was terrified. It's incredibly brave to come back into slowing down is incredibly brave, right? Because when you slow down, that tends to be where, when I was suffering, I was so rigid and so busy all the time, so hyper focused, because I was terrified of, oh my God, what if I was alone with my own thoughts? What a terrible place to be. The way Soften works, my course works, is there's 3 stages. Like, I always work through peace, presence, and power. So peace is healing. It's the 3 principles. It's understanding the 3 principles. Once you have that for the rest of your life. And that's only going to continue and continue to develop throughout your life. You're only going to feel more and more peaceful as your life goes on. It's a gift you get for forever. And the initial stages, this is healing first for a reason, because then you understand safety. You understand that you're safe, and you get rid of all that junk, you get rid of all that fear. And from this new space, from this space of safety, you then get to something that I don't see often, as people have these anxiety healing and stress courses, but healing is fun, but then what do you do? So the second is presence, which is all about self-discovery. And I see it as going from your survival self to your sensual self. So you're using your senses again, because you've numbed yourself out. You've had all these coping tools, and it kind of gets to a point when you're like, you have this beautiful awakening of safety and you're healing and things are getting better. And you're like, okay, who am I? Because if I'm not my survival self, who am I? So then there's this whole module on self-discovery. And by the way, throughout like all of this, there is a Telegram group for active like sisterhood and questions. And because it is something that the beautiful thing about the principles when you're understanding this is you're going to want to ask a lot of questions, because that's how I learned, and that's how I understood it deeper, was asking questions and seeing, dropping your insights. And like once you drop your insights, that could then awaken somebody else's insight, and then it's just this beautiful, beautiful thing that just keeps on giving. And then once you kind of have an idea of who you want to be, who are you without all that? Who is this sensual self, this one that wants to experience life? Because a lot of the time when you're coming from anxiety, you just want to shelter. You don't even have dreams because you are too scared to have them. So then you get to discover, who are you? And then after that, you get power. And that is where the audacity comes in. That's where the confidence, unshakable confidence comes in. This is where you are able to expand without always contracting. It's about bravery and courage and actually taking the steps. And it helps to have a community behind you as you're doing that, because it's also got in there as well as about the wobble. A lot of people will have a little wobble every now and again, and they kind of forget. So it's a space to come back, to remember, to always be plugged into this beautiful space of wholeness, that is not just healing, but is also your development as well. Because I truly believe that, like, well, the safer you feel, the bigger your dreams get. And why not go get them with this backed, like to know that you are backed by this intelligence of life that you've always had. Beautiful things can birth from that. Like clients have become freaking incredible, incredible humans doing like, I had one client that she couldn't leave her room, and now she was just in, what's that place called near the North Pole? She's doing like marine biology, and like
Oh,
she was
wow.
traveling all over the place. She got engaged. She's like living her, she says, her childhood dreams. And there's so much out there that could happen for you if you just had that little space of nourishment, reminders, and expansion and safety. The world is your oyster then.
Yes, I love that, because when we have the idea possibly to soften, or we start to get this inkling of like, there is another way, I don't want to keep feeling this, I don't want to keep experiencing or living this way, because actually, yes, those ways may have protected us at some point, but they end up suffocating us. So
Mhm.
to be able to expand and grow and just move through life with more joy and experience, I don't even have any words, because yet it's something that we can be so fearful of because of, like you said, how the fuck am I going to sit with my own thoughts in my own mind all by myself with no distractions, no outsourcing? What if I'm actually a really horrible person? What if I cannot handle it? What if I feel all these big things and I'm back in that anxiety, I'm back in that loop, I'm back in that depressive episode? But really, consciousness will show you what you are ready to handle always. And as you
Mhm.
said, it's like we are nature, we know what to do. And I just
Mhm.
think it's amazing that having that community within Soften, to be able to tap back in, because we do forget, we're a
Mhm.
human, right? We're living in
Yeah.
this human vessel, and unfortunately have to sometimes be a part of the ways of the world, and we can lose it along the way. So to have a community where you can tap in and be reminded that you do have all the answers. You are love. You have the power within you. But to do that alongside others with actually the power of vulnerability, really,
Mhm.
because when you share your insights, and I know that for me, actually doing Soften myself, at first, I might have been a bit hesitant to share because, as you said, and as we've both said, it can be like, what if they think this about me, or like the attachments, the beliefs we hold. But really, when we can come in community and know that we are all just human and these are all just our thoughts,
Mhm.
it just ignites something. Because
Yeah.
something like I may have felt was stupid and I've shared, actually somebody else could be going through or could need to hear. And that's
Mhm.
kind of, I'm a big believer of you have that thought for a reason, or that dream, or that desire, like you're here for a reason, that purpose, it's going to keep knocking at the door,
Hmm.
and you have to be ready to listen. And that's what soften feels like to me. Like it feels like, are you ready to come home? Like I'm knocking on the door and I'm ready to let you in.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really beautiful. I love that. I love that. Thanks for that.
No, I love
But
it. I love
yeah,
it.
it really is just like a coming home, but once you come home, the world is a whole lot bigger than you thought
Yes.
and a lot safer too. The world
Yes.
becomes a lot more manageable, more than manageable. It becomes a place that you get to play again instead of suffer through. You get to then dance and play and be more childlike. A lot of things is like coming back to how we were as children, is being able to have this beautiful curiosity again, drive again. And it's a shame that so many people have lost that through their believing their thoughts and taking them seriously and developing these illnesses. But I want people to know that there's so much hope. There's so much hope, and it can be a lot faster than you think. And yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It is so beautiful. I have honestly loved diving into this like on a much deeper level, because it it just I've got goosebumps. Like I say, I've got goosebumps. It's because it's that remembering, and it's cutting through the noise, the bullshit. It's not just a quick fix, and it's not something that only, you or I could achieve. Like it's not as if we're special. It's not as if some people don't have it and you do.
Hmm.
It's that like universal life force energy, like
It's built into
universal.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just a part of us. That's how I see intuition. It's everybody has it.
Hmm.
It's whether you like work that muscle. And I wonder if that's also almost like softening as well, because when
Hmm.
we've learned how to be a certain way for all this time, it's a pattern, it's a habit. But
Hmm.
really, if we can unshackle from those things, we actually
Hmm.
get to return to that childlike joyous nature. We want to play and explore and enjoy,
Yeah.
rather than being from a place of restriction. And I just think, what a wonderful world to be in if you could just soften.
Hmm.
And I know that the listeners will absolutely love that. And I'll be sure to drop all the links and how to work with you in the show notes, because, and I'm probably biased because I've been in Soften, but if you're not in Soften, get the fuck in there, because you're mucking about now. Honestly, it's to be within that community space as well, because that is something I can say personally about Anna, is you feel incredibly safe, and you don't need to feel silly or shameful or anything when you come to Anna. And that is something I can say, like professionally as well as personally, as her friend. She will hold you with the utmost love. So yeah, please don't hesitate to reach out to her, because what a woman you are.
Oh, thank you so much for
No, you're
that.
most welcome. It's all true. Now, I do have some funny questions for you as
Okay.
well. I say funny, they're not funny. I
What do you
was like,
mean? They're
I was like,
hilarious.
they're not hilarious. If your soul had a drink order, because as you know, you're on the Soulful Sips and Spills
Mhm.
podcast.
If my soul had a drink, what would it be? You know, the first thing that's coming to my mind, and I haven't even had one before, is that like what is it, like Blue Lotus tea? It's like very magical, kind of weird. I think it's like it induces a little. I don't think it's a psychedelic, but it's like a mushroom tea.
Yes. Oh, you have a mushroom mug. You are the mushroom
Yeah.
tea.
Yeah. I guess
I
I'd be a
love
mushroom
that.
tea. Not promoting, but I think it would be something quite wacky.
Yes, yes, I feel that. You're like whimsy, wacky, wonderful.
Uh,
I love that. Or a blue lotus, little mushroom tea. I love it. I love it. Now, this one is a bit, it could go either way. What is a guilty pleasure of yours that actually turned out to be a medicine?
A guilty pleasure that turned out to be a medicine. A guilty pleasure that turned out to be a medicine. This is a bit weird, but the first thing that came to my head was like rescuing animals. It's like, what do you mean? Don't know.
It's such a cute guilty pleasure. Like my guilty pleasure is spreading love and joy and just saving the world. You know, what can I say?
But a guilty pleasure, surely I have guilty pleasures. Have I got that boring?
See, what I thought a guilty pleasure was for you, what came out for me was some people would probably think, with soften, you're soft and like, just this soft, ethereal, whimsical girl. But actually, also, you love a good skanking out and have it like diving in a mosh pit sort of thing. Like, to me, that feels like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Oh, yes, yes. That is my guilty pleasure. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Raving. You can't get it out of me. No matter how much healing I've done, I will be at the rave.
That was the
That is
best.
definitely it. I was like, what do I even do anymore?
Yeah,
But
who
yes,
am I?
that one will always be a guilty pleasure. Yes. I will. Oh, and my music taste is absolutely feral, disgusting, high tech, psytrance, high BPM.
Love, love,
And it
love
is
it.
it for sure is medicine, for
It
sure.
is medicine. I love it. I love it. And that I would have to jump on that train if I were to answer that question. That's probably also a guilty pleasure of mine, is having such a feral playlist and
Uh-huh.
actually not sitting with the feeling, but actually moving it through or having, getting out of my head and actually back into my body. And I think music can be such a powerful way to do that, especially
100%.
if it's something that you enjoy as well. Because I think as well within this space, sorry, probably going on another tangent, listeners, but another thing I've noticed maybe within the healing space is almost this competitive edge of like, well, if you're not doing it this way, like you're not healing. Like if you're
Yeah.
not doing it this
Yeah.
way, well, you're not.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't fucking shame me in any shape or
Yeah.
form. Healing is healing. Thank you very much. Shut the fuck up. Just saying. And I just love that you allow that duality, is what I mean.
Mm.
Like it's not,
Yeah.
it's that you don't have to be just this. And I find that is
Yeah.
what I love about you as well, that you challenge that norm, because I think in this space, there's a lot of noise, and we kind
Yeah.
of touched on it earlier of that Wild West. There's a lot of noise and it's a lot like trying to sift through the trees. So being able to have something that just, puts you back to your body, to like your true essence. Yeah, such a guilty pleasure. Love it, because we're
Another one came up. I was like, my other guilty pleasure is going nervous system regulation. I hate that. Honestly, whenever I see the words nervous system regulation, I hate it. I'll be honest. I'm an anxiety coach and I hate it. If
yeah.
I hear one more regulation tool, I swear to God, I'm gonna
I'm
need them.
gonna lose it. I'm gonna need them. I'm gonna be rocking
Yeah.
back and forth. I do agree though. That's what I've found within. Please don't come at me for that. Actually, come at me. I don't care. I mentioned it even with the IPA girls, that I hate the labels of things, as you were saying, with modalities and stuff. Maybe this ego place of everyone is just throwing a label on something, whether it's like nervous system regulation or X, whatever it is. There's always this sort of label on it, and I feel. I may have said it before, but I feel like sometimes feel like it's losing like its resonance, like
Mm.
that, the words are losing their meaning. Like sometimes if you say, my friend hates the word authentic, for example, like she really hates it. And she was like, I know that's like your whole thing about being your authentic self, but like it really fucks me off. And I was like,
That's
like,
hilarious.
sorry. And she was like, no, I don't mean you. I just mean like this word, or like you can feel the truth. Sometimes people are throwing around these things and it's lost their meaning, whether it's like intuition, innate well-being, authenticity, like whatever it is, sometimes they're losing their resonance. So yeah, I just love that.
It's a good tip for anyone listening. If you're looking for a coach, just watch a few of their videos, and if they just spit jargon,
Yeah.
pick someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. They're selling you sort of a story of, oh, I don't know, like I made 10K months and I just did
Oh,
X.
did you?
If it feels too good to be true,
Mhm.
it probably
Yeah.
is. As the
Yeah.
saying goes. I know that's probably another tangent, but yeah, it just feels like a bit of a wild west out there. So I just love
Mhm.
that we can come back to actually that wholeness rather than like and cutting through the noise. And my other question for you is, what's the most unhinged thing you've done in the name of manifestation, in the name of calling something in? I can tell this is going to be good. Yeah, the nervous giggle of like, "Ooh."
Once after doing the deed with my partner, once in climax, I was like, we should be think of something you want to manifest right now. This is manifestation time. Manifestation.
No, I love it, love it. Here for it, here for it.
That was the first one that came to mind, but I feel like I have done some. I don't know. Manifestation to me is always a fun one because I feel like manifestation is just play,
Yeah.
creation,
Yes.
find out,
Yes.
f around and find out is my
Yes.
motto.
Love that.
But yeah, that's probably the weirdest one. It was a bit awkward as well, actually.
I love that. Fuck around and find out. Well, she did, quite literally.
Yeah, yeah,
Did the manifestation come
quite
through, is what
literally.
I want to know.
Yeah.
But I love that. It's play. It's whatever you
Mm.
want it to be. Sarah, one of our previous guests, shared that actually her and a friend, to manifest like the boy they liked, they wrote his name, I think, on the bottom of their shoe.
Oh wow.
And I was like, that's giving me Toy
That
Story
is
vibes. Like,
random.
yeah.
Respect.
Yeah, respect. Exactly.
Respect for the game.
Fuck around and find out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Fuck around and find out. That's what we need to do
Oh,
more of.
I love it. It has been honestly so fucking fun talking to you today. And honestly,
Yeah,
I
thank
know
you.
that we could speak so much more. But is there anything else that you feel called to share on the Soulful Sips episode? I know we have covered such a wide range, from your story of traveling from burnout, anxiety, panic attacks, to actually unraveling, deshackling, and becoming soul sanctuary, rediscovering your joy, your essence, and coming back to you, which has been so wonderful to hear. And I want to say thank you again for sharing that so openly and honestly, because it does take courage. It does take courage to stand out. It does take courage to share your story. And I'm always touched by the meaning of courage, because it comes from the Latin word core, meaning heart. So to have courage is to tell your story with your whole heart. And I think that's exactly what you've done here today. And it's just wonderful, because I just know the ripple effect of that is going to be amazing. So yeah, if there is anything else that you feel with your vast knowledge and storehouse of information that you think we should know, please do spill.
Well, thank you so much for that. Like honestly, you create the safe space for all of it to come through. It wouldn't have come through if you didn't set such a beautiful, heartwarming, beautiful safe space for it to be shared. And if I had anything else, well, the other thing, I've got Courage the Cowardly tattoos. Courage the Cowardly Dog tattooed on my leg. So I love what you said about courage. I really do feel that so much. And courage really just does come from love, doesn't it? I think that's what I would say is spoiler alert, the answer is love. It just is. And to know that you're no matter how deeply you're suffering, there's so much hope. There is hope beyond your wildest dreams, and it's closer than you think.
I I love you. I love you
I love you
so much. Thank you
too.
so much. That was so amazing. And just, I love that. I love that you've even got courage on, like, tattooed on you. That sums you up. Yeah, just
Yeah.
courageous. So just be courageous, sinners. Be courageous. Stop taking things so fucking seriously. Get out of your head. Get out of your thoughts. Go join Soften with Anna Laing at Soul Sanctuary. Understand your peace, presence, your power, and go do the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Go do the thing.
Get out of your head and into your life.
Love it. And it gets to be so beautiful. Thank you so much for listening. And I would love, love if you know anyone that has resonated or you yourself has resonated with this story, please share it with a friend, because this has been so wonderful. And I just know there are so many people that need to hear it. So thank you so much for listening and have a lovely day. Bye.